Chapter 51 Binding Mu Jiuling, the Saint Master. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The list was super detailed, including pretty much everyone Zhao Mu had ever come into contact with. Zhao Mu more or less got the hang of the system's new features. He noticed the official version had tighter rules than before. You couldn't just spam gifts to get rewards anymore. You could only send stuff to people whose favorability or loyalty was at least 60 points and who were bound to you. Zhao Mu was a little speechless. Was this really the official version? Felt more like they'd neutered it. System, what's the upside of binding someone? Zhao Mu asked. If there wasn't some kind of perk, what was the point? Once you bind someone, you get a daily gift return opportunity. Each gift has a chance of boosting their favorability or loyalty. Zhao Mu's eyes lit up. So now, sending gifts could not only get you rewards but also improve their opinion of you. If you looked at it that way, the pros outweighed the cons. Especially that new favorability boost, that was really tempting to Zhao Mu. Take Lu Qi, for example. Her favorability toward Zhao Mu was already a crazy 99 points. If he bound her and sent her some gifts, wouldn't it be a piece of cake to max it out at 100? He didn't know what full favorability even meant, but it just felt different. Still, with the ability to boost favorability, binding Lu Qi, who was already sky-high, felt kinda like a waste. He only had 10 binding slots, so he needed to be picky to get the most bang for his buck. System, can I get more binding slots? Zhao Mu asked. The number of bindings is fixed. However, when a bound person hits max favorability or loyalty, 100 points, they become permanently bound and won't take up a binding slot anymore. Sweet. Zhao Mu thought it over and realized the system upgrade was way more good than bad. It was like having your cake and eating it too. The only catch was needing 60 points of favorability to bind someone. Otherwise, Zhao Mu would have locked down in Zishuan ASAP. He'd shower his beautiful master with gifts every single day. Eventually, he'd max out her favorability. With maxed out favorability, no matter how high and mighty his beautiful master was, she'd let him do whatever he wanted. Haha. Hey, you're awake. Mu Jiuling's surprised voice broke through his thoughts. Zhao Mu, thanks to the life-giving art, could move a bit now. He asked, how long was I out? You slept for 3 days and nights. I was worried you'd be out for good. Mu Jiuling patted her chest, relieved to see Zhao Mu awake. Only 3 days. I figured it'd take half a year to see you again, Zhao Mu said, smiling. Mu Jiuling blushed, rolling her eyes at Zhao Mu. Seeing how chatty you are, you must be okay. I'll go tell Master to come check on you. Mu Jiuling turned to leave, but Zhao Mu grabbed her and pulled her back. What do you think you're doing? Mu Jiuling said, pretending to be annoyed. Zhao Mu reached into his storage ring, pulled out a first-grade beauty pill he'd made in Yaowang Valley, and put it in Mu Jiuling's hand. He'd just decided to make Mu Jiuling his first binding target. He'd always thought of Mu Jiuling as this innocent little kid, so he held back before. Not anymore. Plus, looking at Mu Jiuling's system info, he was curious. Everyone else had their race listed, but Mu Jiuling's was a question mark, which seemed pretty unique. He had a feeling this little girl's background was super mysterious. Her favorability was high enough to bind her, and she was right here, so she was getting bound first. First-class beauty pill. Are you dissing me? Mu Jiuling looked disgusted. Zhao Mu acted like he'd been slapped. I made this myself. If you don't want it, fine. I'll just save it for someone else. Wait, you made it yourself? Seeing Zhao Mu reaching for the pill, Mu Jiuling quickly closed her hand around it and puffed out her cheeks. You can't take back a gift. No way. Then, humming a little tune, she happily skipped away. Ding. You gave Mu Jiuling a first-class beauty pill, triggering a 200x reward. You received a third-class beauty pill. Ding. Mu Jiuling's favorability +1, not just a little bit, every little bit counts. Mu Jiuling was at 81 favorability. A little boost every day, and he'd max her out in no time. Even if the gains slowed down, it was still doable. Just a matter of time, Zhao Mu thought to himself. taking out the third-grade beauty pill and popping it himself, no point in giving the reward away, and it wasn't doing any good sitting there. Even if the beauty pill didn't do much for his looks, a little improvement couldn't hurt. The better looking you are, the more girls chase after you. Zhao Mu knew that firsthand, looking at his 9 remaining binding slots. Zhao Mu thought for a second and bound Lu Qi. He was confident he could get her. Favorability to 100 fast, so it wouldn't waste the slot for long. As for the rest, Zhao Mu was undecided, no rush. He'd just watch and wait. It would be great to get his beautiful master up to 60 favorability so he could bind her. As he was thinking this, and Zishuan's perfect, saintly form appeared before him. You've recovered well. Your constitution is truly extraordinary. I thought you would need at least a few years to fully recover. Master, Han Rong. The golden-armored monk was willing to self-destruct to kill Zhao Mu. Han Rong had to have ordered it. Zhao Mu had really underestimated Han Rong. To get a nascent soul expert to commit suicide and take the blame was incredible. If I told you she's still alive and well, and hasn't suffered any consequences, would you be disappointed? Zhao Mu's face darkened. Figures. Even with Zishuan intervening, she couldn't touch Han Rong. That woman had covered all her tracks. Once the golden-armored monk died, she could hide behind the scenes and get away with it. The disciple isn't disappointed. The disciple feels that, having suffered a loss this time, he'll get it back from that woman with interest next time, Zhao Mu said calmly. After this ordeal, Zhao Mu seemed to have matured, and Zishuan heard Zhao Mu's words, a look of relief in her eyes, and nodded in satisfaction. Focus on recovering. Stay in Zitian cave for now and don't go anywhere. Han Rong, Long Tianxiang, or the whole demon faction in the sect, anyone who hurts my disciples will pay the price. And Zishuan radiated a powerful presence. She seemed like a saint descended to earth, too holy to look at directly. Zhao Mu suddenly remembered that, in the system info, and Zishuan's race was listed as saint race. Could she be a descendant of a saint? Looks like he didn't pick the wrong master. Chapter 52 The Attitude of the Queen Qingyun. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Zishuan left, Mu Jiuling filled Zhao Mu in on everything that had happened the last few days. Apparently, Zishuan rescued Zhao Mu outside the law enforcement hall, but the golden-armored monk had already self-destructed, leaving nothing behind. Enraged, Zishuan used some crazy powerful method to grab Han Rong and drag her back there, Zishuan was ready to kill Han Rong then and there, but just then, the Shengyuan Demon Sect's powerful demon elders showed up to save Han Rong. Immediately afterward, Zhou Xiliang, Fan Deng, and Du Guzhan, 3 human elders, arrived as well. The two sides faced off in a tense standoff right there in the law enforcement hall. Word is, it was a powder keg, and a full-blown sect civil war was about to erupt, but at the last second, Queen Qingyun showed up and calmed things down. Queen Qingyun came out. Zhao Mu asked, surprised. This Qingyun empress was shrouded in mystery. Zhao Mu had been in the demon sect for a year and had only heard rumors that the empress was always in secluded cultivation, leaving all sect matters to the elders. She was supposed to be above it all, never showing her face, so, Zhao Mu had finally gotten her attention. This whole thing must have been huge. Yeah, you really stirred things up this time. The empress knows about you, but... But what? Mu Jiuling lowered her voice. After the empress learned that the master had taken you as a disciple, she seemed pretty annoyed and scolded her, saying she said what? The empress said that the master shouldn't be distracted by pretty boys and damage her cultivation. Zhao Mu just stared. For a second, Zhao Mu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Queen Qingyun's words were basically admitting Zhao Mu was good-looking. So, what did master say? Master said she only valued your talent and potential and that she hoped to train you into a future powerhouse for humanity. Basically, she's really optimistic about you, and then she brought up the demon elders trying to kill a promising human genius and demanded the Qingyun queen punish them severely. Classic Zishuan, using a distraction. What was the queen's response? Zhao Mu asked. Queen Qingyun's attitude was crucial to his future in the Shengyuan Demon Sect. If she favored the demons, Zhao Mu might as well pack his bags and leave while he still could. Staying in the Shengyuan Demon Sect would be a death wish. The queen said that the Shengyuan Demon Sect has always treated talented disciples equally and absolutely prohibits internal fighting. Anyone caught doing it again would face serious consequences. Again. He barely survived this time. Another round and he'd be dead, so, the queen's stance was ambiguous at best. Zhao Mu frowned, then, Mu Jiuling piped up. Actually, I think the queen probably favors you, but she's in a tough spot. After all, the demon race has the entire 10,000 demon forest, the dragon race, the phoenix race, and all those ancient clans backing them up. The queen can't just go against them, or it'll bring even worse problems to the Shengyuan Demon Sect. Standing up and making that statement was probably her way of siding with the humans as much as she could. Otherwise, if she'd stayed in seclusion, that whole thing would have ended with the demon race winning big, and the humans would be in even worse shape. Mu Jiuling's analysis made a lot of sense. Zhao Mu looked at Mu Jiuling with new eyes and couldn't help but pinch her cheek. You're a small package, but you've got a big brain. Mu Jiuling puffed out her chest, pleased with the compliment. Of course. Who do you think I am? For the next few days, Zhao Mu stayed in Zitian Cave to recover, sending little gifts to Mu Jiuling every day. He didn't have much to offer right now, so it was mostly first-rate elixirs he made or flowers he picked. He wasn't getting any reward income yet, but his favorability with her was skyrocketing. In just a few days, Mu Jiuling's favorability had jumped to 85 points, plus, with them spending all day and night together, Mu Jiuling was much closer to Zhao Mu than before, practically inseparable. At this rate, once the favorability hit 90 points, Mu Jiuling would basically be his. But this peaceful life didn't last. A week after he woke up, Zhao Mu was fully healed, and Zishuan found Zhao Mu again. Bringing the Catwoman twins with her, Zhao Mu groaned. Master, I just got better. Can't you give me a few more days to rest? And Zishuan said flatly, you think I went through all that trouble to save you just because of your potential and good looks? The message was clear. If Zhao Mu couldn't deliver, he was useless, brutal. Master, don't worry. I'll do whatever you want and won't let you down, Zhao Mu said, putting on his most sincere face. No matter what he thought, he had to play nice. First, get Zishuan's favorability above 60, bind her to the return system, and then the rest would be easy. And Zishuan nodded, satisfied, and tossed Zhao Mu another storage ring. Your cultivation has been advancing too quickly. Your master, noticed your foundation isn't very solid, so I brought you some pills to strengthen it. Keep taking them, and they'll do wonders. Then, Zishuan turned to leave. Zhao Mu opened the storage ring. Inside were 35th grade marrow cleansing pills. Marrow cleansing pills were good stuff. Zhao Mu had gotten a 7th grade pill before, and it worked wonders. This 5th grade pill wasn't nearly as good, but he could use it to trigger a return reward, which was great for Zhao Mu. But he was more interested in Zishuan's favorability. He checked the system interface. Zishuan's favorability had jumped to 55. Not bad. If he kept playing the good disciple, her favorability would hit 60 soon. He had to keep it up. After Zishuan left, Lei rushed over and hugged Zhao Mu eagerly. Junior brother, I heard you were in trouble. I was so worried. Yuan said coolly, what's there to worry about? The wicked always prosper. I figured he wouldn't die so soon. The two sisters were as different as ever. Sisters, let's not waste time. We're all working for the saint, so let's get to it. With that, Zhao Mu spread himself out on the bed and let the Catwoman sisters get to work. He knew Zishuan was watching him secretly, and he was saying this for her benefit. Sure enough, he checked the system again. Zishuan's favorability had gone up 2 points, reaching 57, just 3 points away. If he did well today, he might just achieve his goal. Chapter 53 High Hopes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 2 hours later, Zhao Mu wrapped up his task. The Catwoman sisters returned loaded down and handed their haul over to Zishuan. Zishuan barely glanced at it before feeling a rush of yang energy hit her, making her cheeks flush. She had no secrets from the doll, and murmured to herself, this guy's vitality is insane. He was practically at death's door, and in a few days, He's not only fully recovered but bouncing around. No wonder half the female disciples in the sect are after him. Her eyes gleaming, and Zishuan ordered the Catwoman sisters, "You two stick with Zhao Mu these next few days and drain him dry every chance you get. Don't let Jiuling get her claws into him." And Zishuan had seen Mu Jiuling fawning over Zhao Mu the other day. She has high hopes for Mu Jiuling and doesn't want her to get too attached to Zhao Mu and lose focus. Besides, there was another reason Zishuan didn't want to admit: seeing Mu Jiuling and Zhao Mu getting cozy just rubbed her the wrong way. She found the whole thing irritating. After the Catwoman sisters left, and Zishuan stared at the still warm white jade bottle on the table. Hesitating for a moment, she picked it up and took a whiff. Her face turned even redder. Huh? Why did his favorability rating jump again? It's over 60 now. Zhao Mu was relaxing when he noticed Zishuan's favorability level had hit 60. Could the Qiyang liquid she gave him be so good that Zishuan was thrilled? Without hesitation, Zhao Mu set Zishuan as his return object. Ding! You give Zishuan a bottle of Qiyang liquid. If you fail to deliver, you'll get hit with a 500x penalty. The Qiyang holy body gains the equivalent of 500 days of cultivation. Ding! Zishuan's favorability +1. Instantly, Zhao Mu felt the Red Sun's power surge through him, greatly boosting the Red Sun holy body. 500 days of practice was like getting a year and a half ahead. Zhao Mu was stoked to get milked every day so his Red Sun holy body could reach perfection sooner rather than later. A few more days passed. He hadn't seen Mu Jiuling, but the Catwoman sisters were always around, trying to squeeze every last drop out of Zhao Mu. Although they tried to drain him, the hundreds of times reward he got each time instantly recharged him. After a few days, Zishuan's favorability score reached 65. Zhao Mu's Qiyang holy body had leveled up by the equivalent of at least 5 years of practice, and the power of Qiyang had become more potent. On top of that, Zhao Mu was taking a marrow cleansing pill every day and his cultivation was leveling out. One day, Zishuan found Zhao Mu. The family drama has calmed down for now. Han Rong cooked up a story to go back to the Phoenix clan for some training. A few of the demon elders have sworn not to target you anymore. Now that you're safe, you don't need to stay cooped up in Zitian Cave Mansion. You can head out whenever you want. Zishuan added, in a few days, it's the sect's hunting day. All demon sect disciples will head into the World of Warcraft secret realm to hunt monsters and earn merit for the sect. It's our annual assessment, and everyone has to participate, including you. I've already told the human disciples to do everything they can to keep you safe inside the World of Warcraft secret realm. While the demons probably won't dare to make a move right now, you should still be prepared. With that, Zishuan pulled out a crystal orb and handed it to Zhao Mu. This orb contains my spatial magic. If you break it in a pinch, it'll create a spatial barrier to protect you and block attacks. It's even effective against gods. Carry this with you, but don't show it off unless you absolutely have to. Taking the orb, Zhao Mu quickly thanked her. Master, you're too kind. I'll work harder to contribute even more Red Sun liquid to you. Stop talking nonsense. This isn't a deal. Zishuan looked both amused and annoyed, glared at Zhao Mu, then turned and disappeared. Did he say something wrong? Zhao Mu quickly checked the system interface. The favorability level was actually 66, it ticked up a tiny bit. He just couldn't figure women out. Shaking his head, Zhao Mu grabbed his token and left Zitian Cave Mansion. Breathing in the fresh air, Zhao Mu felt renewed. I wonder what the situation is with those three. The 3 demon punks were loyal, and it wouldn't hurt to have them around, but he didn't know if they'd been caught and thrown back in the law enforcement hall dungeon. Zhao Mu was debating whether to revisit the law enforcement hall when 3 figures suddenly appeared in front of him. It was his 3 masters. Zhou Xiliang was the first to reach Zhao Mu, and he checked him over to make sure the injury had healed. My good disciple, I feel terrible. I shouldn't have asked you to leave the dungeon so soon. Who knew Han Rong was so vindictive and would try to take you out? Fan Deng followed, looking pissed. My disciple was wrong this time. If I don't get revenge, I'll never forgive myself. If you hadn't stopped me, I would have stormed Phoenix Mountain and poisoned the whole Phoenix clan. Dugujan shook his head. Now's not the time to be impulsive. The human race is still weak. If we want to go up against the demons, we need to be patient and wait for an opening. Patient? How long are we supposed to wait? I'm done with this frustrating life. If I'd known, I would have taken Zhao Mu straight to the medicine god temple. The conditions might not be as good as the demon sect, but it's still one of the 5 major human holy places. With Zhao Mu's talents, he'd be famous after a few centuries. Zhao Mu couldn't help but laugh. He thought Dugujan, the combat expert, would be the most hot-headed of the 3. Turns out, Fan Dang was the real firecracker. Don't worry about me, masters. They say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I doubt I'll be this unlucky again. Zhao Mu smiled. Even though he was ambushed this time, it was an experience. Besides, there was a long road ahead. Next time he met Han Rong, would she be able to escape from Zhao Mu? It's our fault, the 3 old geezers. If we were stronger, the demons wouldn't dare pull this kind of crap. Zhou Xiliang sighed. Dugujan patted Zhao Mu on the shoulder. Kid, you broke through to the Jindan realm under pressure, proving we weren't wrong about you. From now on, we 3 will teach you everything we know. We just hope that one day, you can grow up and become a bulwark of the human race, protecting the people. Chapter 54 3.5 Steps. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dugujan's words were serious and tinged with a hint of sadness. He observed that humanity's weakness wasn't limited to just the Shengyuan Demon Sect, but reflected the current state of the entire Xinwu continent. Zhao Mu wasn't fully aware of the situation, but he had heard rumors that the forest of 10,000 monsters was expanding every year, constantly encroaching on human territories. The forest used to be about the same size as the plains, but now it was much larger. Humanity's living conditions might be even more dire than he imagined. Zhao Mu could guess what Dugujan meant by the moat, though he hadn't expected Dugujan to have such high hopes for him. Masters, rest assured, I won't let you down. Zhao Mu said with determination. Dugujan nodded. The hunt is in 3 days. For the next 3 days, you'll train with me in the Blood Battle Hall. I'll give you some intensive training to boost your combat skills. When the hunt arrives, we'll show those monsters what a strong human looks like. Zhou Xiliang and Fan Dang readily agreed. This whole incident has shown me that strength is all that matters, Fan Dang added. You can learn formations and alchemy later, but right now, you need to focus on your physical talents and improve your fighting ability as fast as possible. I've been saving up some elixirs to improve your cultivation, Zhou Xiliang said. I'll give you some now, but not all of them. I don't want you taking too many at once and hurting your foundation. Seeing Zhou Xiliang bring out his collection of elixirs, Fan Dang wouldn't be outdone. He pulled out several golden talismans. These are magical talismans that I personally refined for my master. They can repel enemies, break out of traps, and protect you. Empress Qingyun used to use them. I managed to snag a few and I'm giving them all to you. Before Zhao Mu could react, his hands were overflowing with elixirs and talismans. The elixirs were all at least grade 6, the talismans were priceless. Zhao Mu wasn't about to refuse, happily accepting the gifts. With this treasure trove, earning rewards would be even easier. Thank you both, masters. I'll go with Master Dugu to the Blood Battle Hall now. Zhao Mu bid farewell to his masters and followed Dugujan. Since Tian Xing Sui Shou had broken down outside the law enforcement hall, Zhao Mu was without a flying sword. Seeing this, Dugujan produced a fiery red greatsword. The sword pulsed with power, traces of fire flowing through its blade, radiating intense fighting spirit. It was clearly a flying sword made for battle. This is the 8th grade flying sword I used when I was a disciple. Its name means, cutting off all injustice. This sword has been with me for centuries and has tasted the blood of many demons. I'm passing it on to you now. I hope you will stay true to your heart, do good, and don't stray from the righteous path. Taking the great sword, Zhao Mu was stunned. Master, if you give me your flying sword, what will you use? Dugujan smiled. Swordsmanship isn't really my forte. Close combat is where I excel. This flying sword is more of a symbol to me. Even so, Zhao Mu could tell how much the sword meant to Dugu Zhan. Zhao Mu accepted the sword. Master, rest assured, I will live up to this sword. Dugu Zhan nodded, quickened his pace, and soon they arrived at the blood battle hall. Zhao Mu's arrival immediately attracted the attention of many inner disciples. Senior brother Xiao Wugui and second senior sister Xing Ziyue stepped forward. Since Xiao Wugui was born into the demon clan, Zhao Mu had expected hostility. But to his surprise, Xiao Wugui bowed respectfully with clasped fists. Junior brother, I'm sorry for what you've been through. Han Rong went too far. Even though the demon and human races are often at odds, using such a despicable method to kill a promising human is something I despise. I apologize on behalf of the demon clan. Xiao Wugui's attitude surprised Zhao Mu. The last time they'd met, he'd been prejudiced, but this senior brother of the blood battle hall, despite being a demon, was more reasonable than many other demons. Xing Ziyue was even more direct. She reached out and groped Zhao Mu all over, then she giggled. Not bad, little junior brother. You're lucky to be alive, and everything's still intact. Otherwise, senior sister would have been heartbroken. Zhao Mu instinctively stepped back. This senior sister was even more wild than he was, and Zhao Mu was a bit overwhelmed. It wasn't just Zhao Mu. Even Dugu Zhan was exasperated by his female disciple. Ziyue, stop teasing your junior brother. As a girl, you should watch how you act and speak. Xing Ziyue giggled. Understood, master. I promise not to tease junior brother anymore. But master, don't you think he and I would make a good couple? If we mixed our bloodlines, who knows what kind of monster we could create? Ahem. Dugu Zhan nearly lost it. I think you're already outrageous enough. Pay no attention to her, junior brother. You're doomed to be single, so stop dreaming and focus on your martial arts. With your talent, you should have broken through to the realm of gods by now. Xing Ziyue quieted down a bit after being scolded, but she continued to flirt with Zhao Mu, her seductive gaze seemingly wanting to devour him on the spot. Compared to Xiao Wugui, Xing Ziyue seemed more like a demon. After saying goodbye to his senior brothers and sisters, Zhao Mu followed Dugu Zhan into a hall. The hunt is coming up, so we don't have much time. I'm going to teach you a set of footwork. With this footwork, you can advance, retreat, attack, and defend. It's incredibly versatile. With your talent and understanding, it shouldn't be too hard to learn. Even a little progress in 3 days will be a huge help. This footwork is called 3.5 steps. When mastered, you'll be invincible within 3 steps. No ghosts, gods, or evil spirits can touch you. Zhao Mu looked skeptical. It's called 3.5 steps, so why are you only invincible within 3 steps? Because the creator of this footwork couldn't comprehend the last half step. But he said that whoever masters the last half step will be invincible in the world. That's crazy. It's also ridiculous. The creator of this footwork was the Saint Yuan patriarch of the Demon Sect. Zhao Mu was embarrassed. It was the Saint Yuan patriarch again. That guy was a legend. Zhao Mu grew curious and asked, Master, what's your relationship with the Saint Yuan patriarch? Dugu Zhan fell silent, lost in thought. After a moment, he said, the patriarch was very good to me. If he hadn't left the demon sect, I would have become his direct disciple. Chapter 55 Hunting Day. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sure enough, Dugu Zhan had met the Saint Yuan ancestor, but the Saint Yuan ancestor left the demon sect at least 3,000 years ago. So, Dugu Zhan's been around for over 3,000 years. Those Buddhist monks really know how to live long. Zhao Mu didn't dwell on it and started learning the 3.5 step footwork from Dugu Zhan. This footwork is about mastering movement, how to gain an advantage, repel enemies, avoid danger, and advance. All flexible movements in battle can be summed up in footwork. Basic footwork focuses on body coordination, quickness, and surprise attacks. It requires strong reflexes. But the 3.5 steps are different. This is a high-level technique that transcends physical limitations and focuses more on perception. The practitioner's perception doesn't rely on sight, but on sensing spiritual energy. This perception is also called spiritual consciousness. The real power of the 3.5 steps is that it greatly enhances spiritual awareness within a 3-step radius. Zhao Mu understood it as less of a movement technique and more of a small-scale personal domain. Within that 3-step zone, spiritual consciousness can observe subtle changes and even predict attacks, creating a state of near invincibility in close combat. Now Zhao Mu understood why Dugu Zhan had spent these 3 days teaching him the footwork. Even a basic grasp of it could significantly improve one's ability to sense and react. Engaging an enemy in close quarters would offer a chance to dominate, gaining a decisive advantage thanks to superior awareness. 3 days flew by. Bloody Battle Hall, under a waterfall in a valley. Zhao Mu stood on a grassy knoll, a shattered beehive at his feet. A swarm of angry bees buzzed around him, stingers extended, attacking from every direction. Zhao Mu closed his eyes, relying on spiritual perception to track each bee's movement. Every attack trajectory was clear in his mind. Like a shadow, he moved constantly within a 3-step range, evading the bees. Hundreds of bees tried to pierce his skin, but his clever, agile movements deflected them all. Even when a stinger grazed his skin, his body would shift, preventing penetration. He seemed to be stung repeatedly, but he remained unscathed. After 10 minutes, sensing the bees' fatigue, Zhao Mu opened his eyes. Bang, starred at a wave of searing spiritual energy erupted from him. Blasting the bees away, Dugu Zhan approached from the edge of the valley. He nodded approvingly. To master the 3.5 steps to this degree in just 3 days is excellent. I'm sure it will be useful in monster hunts. Zhao Mu stepped forward. Master, what exactly is this hunting day? Everyone in the sect seems to be making a big deal of it. Dugu Zhan explained. Simply put, it's the Shengyuan Demon Sect's annual assessment. Disciples from each elder's faction compete in hunting monsters, vying for rankings to demonstrate their progress over the past year. You'll understand the specifics soon enough. Zhao Mu nodded and followed Dugu Zhan. Soon, they arrived outside the Bloody Battle Hall's main hall. Almost every disciple from the hall had gathered, numbering close to 800. Is everyone here? Dugu Zhan asked. Xiao Wugui reported. Master, all the Bloody Battle Hall disciples are assembled and ready to go. Let's move out. With that, Dugu Zhan soared into the sky, leading the way. The disciples followed in droves. The inner circle consisted of the 3 direct disciples, Zhao Mu, Xiao Wugui, and Xing Ziyue. Xing Ziyue greeted Zhao Mu with a smile. Junior brother, stick with me in the secret realm of Warcraft. I'll keep you safe. Protect me, star. Thank God you don't just eat me, star. Thank you, senior sister, but it's my first time on hunting day, and I'd like to experience it on my own. Xiao Wugui chimed in. Junior brother's right. Hunting day is a rare chance to fight freely. It's a good opportunity to hone your skills, and shouldn't be missed. I disagree, Xing Ziyue countered. Our junior brother is the demon clan's public enemy right now. Who knows how many disciples hold a grudge? If he's alone, accidents could happen. He's safer with me. Xiao Wugui retorted. I'm a demon clan member too. Would I harm my junior brother? Besides, the masters and other elders will be watching. What could possibly go wrong? Before Zhao Mu could speak, the two were already arguing. As they argued, they arrived outside the Demon Sect's west gate. Beyond the mountain gate lay an endless forest teeming with monsters. At the gate's base, 11 sect elders had assembled their teams. Nearly all the inner and direct disciples of the Shengyuan Demon Sect were present, tens of thousands, creating a spectacle. Zhao Mu scanned the crowd. Spotting familiar faces, Xiong Yurong and Niu Yulan were together. Tao Subai was with the inner disciples from Yaowang Valley. He even saw Lu Qi, closely following Elder Lu Haikong. She seemed to have regained some freedom and been promoted to an inner disciple. Zhao Mu also spotted Chu Jiaran, who was in the largest team and seemed to be under the Great Elder's command. Not far from Chu Jiaran stood a striking figure. The man had flowing blonde hair, handsome and sharp. Every movement exuded a powerful aura, like a drawn sword. Just a glance felt like being pricked by needles, asterisk such intense sword intent, star, this had to be Long Tianxiang, fifth on the list of direct disciples, and Lu Qi's fiancé. As Zhao Mu looked, Long Tianxiang turned, his eyes cold. Ahem. The burly old man beside Long Tianxiang coughed, and Long Tianxiang checked his murderous intent and turned away, asterisk could that old man, be the demon sect's great elder, star. Zhao Mu didn't dwell on it and continued to look ahead. At the head of the team stood two figures of unmatched presence. An Zixuan was one, the other, with black hair like a waterfall and a stern expression, had to be the demon sect's saint, Jun Mo. The time has come. Prepare to depart. An Zixuan issued the order, soaring into the sky to lead the way. Jun Mo walked beside her, making many female disciples swoon. The Holy Son is so handsome. The Holy Son and Holy Daughter are so perfect together that it doesn't even sting. I dreamed about the Holy Son again last night. I gave birth to 7 kids with him. Even if it was just a dream, I have no regrets. If I could become a Taoist partner with the Holy Son, I'd gladly shave 1,000 years off my life. Chapter 56, Start Hunting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The large group entered the forest of 10,000 demons, and Zhao Mu was immediately captivated by its immensity. He'd heard stories about the forest back in the servants' courtyard, but this was his first real experience with it. They said this forest, covering 60% of Shengyuan continent, stretched all the way from the desperate ice fields in the north to the demon-slaying islands in the south, even reaching into the ink-black restricted zone at the western edge of the world, a place so dark sunlight couldn't penetrate. It was one of the most mysterious places on the continent. Even though the Shengyuan Demon Sect was in the forest of 10,000 demons, it was on the eastern edge, bordering the human plains, basically the outskirts. Still, as soon as they entered, Zhao Mu sensed a ton of monsters, hidden in the dense trees and brush. The monsters around the Demon Sect were routinely cleared out, leaving only harmless small fry. So, what's the difference between a monster and a warcraft? Zhao Mu asked. He knew the hunting day was in the Warcraft secret realm, so there were bound to be Warcraft. They probably weren't the same thing as regular monsters. After all, more than half the Demon Sect disciples were demons. It wouldn't make sense for them to hunt their own kind, Xiao Wugui explained. Warcraft are demonized monsters and humans, corrupted by this dark energy. You hardly see them on Shengyuan continent anymore, but over 8,000 years ago, Warcraft were everywhere, causing serious damage to both demons and humans. Eventually, the two races teamed up to fight them back. But Warcraft have this weird power, almost immortal, making them really hard to kill for good. So, the top experts from both races built secret realms, isolated spaces, to lock the Warcraft away for good. One of these secret realms is near the Shengyuan Demon Sect. That's why the sect's founder set up shop here, to guard the secret realm and make sure the Warcraft never came back. That made sense. It explained why the St. Yuan Demon Sect took the hunting day so seriously. After all, the sect was founded to do this. Less than 15 minutes later, the group arrived in a valley deep in the forest. The mountains were steep, with sheer cliffs on all sides. Huge formations were carved into each cliff face, and thick black chains extended from them. Each chain was easily 30 feet thick. All 4 intertwined, suspending a massive, ancient stone pillar thousands of feet in the air. The pillar was covered in strange carvings of bizarre creatures, incredibly lifelike and radiating pure evil. This pillar had to be the entrance to the Warcraft secret realm. Tens of thousands of Demon Sect disciples landed at the bottom of the valley. There were buildings here, where Demon Sect disciples were stationed full-time, guarding the entrance. This year's hunting day is the same as always, 5 days, individual competition, Jun Mo announced, his voice deep but carrying clearly to all the disciples. Hunting points convert to merits 1-to-1. The top 100 get bonus merits, and the top 3 can pick any treasure from the sect's vault. The 12 elders stepped forward to explain the rules in more detail. The Warcraft secret realm was huge. After everyone teleported in, they'd be dropped randomly, to keep people from teaming up right away. The realm was full of Warcraft, divided into 4 levels, Heaven, Earth, Black, and Yellow. You got points for hunting them, depending on their level. Heaven level Warcraft were at least nascent soul realm, some even divine transformation. But there weren't many, and they stuck to the center of the realm. Disciples who weren't strong enough could just stay away from the center. You couldn't kill Warcraft completely, but if you destroyed the evil crystal in their head, they'd go dormant for centuries. Only destroying the crystal got you points. If you were in over your head, you could use your disciple badge to teleport out, but you couldn't go back in, and your hunt was over. The secret realm wasn't governed by sect rules. Disciples could fight over monsters, but killing another disciple wiped out your points, so there was no incentive for infighting. Finally, points were tradable. The realm had rare elixirs and ores. If you found any, you could keep them or trade them to other disciples for points or money. After explaining the rules, another incense burning's worth of time passed. Finally, the hunting day began. The saint, the sun, and the 12 elders all focused their spiritual power, activating the stone pillars of light shot down, engulfing the disciples and teleporting them into the Warcraft secret realm. Zhao Mu felt a pull, and suddenly he was in a dark, cold cave. It was huge and empty. With eerie green flames flickering in the distance, like will-o'-the-wisps, giving it an otherworldly feel, Zhao Mu looked around. No one else had been teleported into the cave with him. He blasted a ball of fire from his palm, lighting up the cave brightly. It was easily 30 feet deep, and teeming with dark creatures. These must be the Warcraft he was supposed to hunt. 10 feet away, a half-human-sized Warcraft snarled, baring its fangs and claws. Stimulated by the fire, it charged. Zhao Mu didn't attack right away. He carefully studied the Warcraft's shape and aura. It had probably been a demon beast, but its original features were gone. Its body was twisted, grotesque, and unsettling. Even with his strong nerves, Zhao Mu felt a shiver. Without a word, Zhao Mu drew his sword and slashed the Warcraft in half, but the Warcraft didn't die. It quickly started to regenerate, completely healed in seconds. This Warcraft really is immortal, Zhao Mu thought. Interesting. He drew his sword again, this time stabbing it straight into the Warcraft's head, twisting hard. He must have broken something, because the Warcraft went limp, collapsing into a puddle of black, rotten meat. At the same time, Zhao Mu's identity badge vibrated. Text appeared on it. Killed yellow-level Warcraft, 1 point. 1 point for the lowest level Warcraft. That wasn't going to cut it. Just then, more Warcraft, attracted by the light, came rushing at Zhao Mu from all sides. This time there were hundreds of them, but they didn't feel strong. They were probably all yellow-level Warcraft, no real threat. Asterisk swish, star. As the Warcraft horde closed in, Zhao Mu unleashed purple lightning. Arcs of crackling purple energy spread out, slowing the Warcraft down even if they couldn't kill them outright. His sword flashed, and the Warcraft fell, one by one. Easy. Chapter 57 Sea of Corrosion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This cave's crawling with low-level monsters. Killing them's like swatting flies, and the points are garbage. Let's bounce. Zhao Mu plowed through the monsters, searching for a way out, but after scouring the whole place, he came up empty. Was this just a dead-end underground trap? Zhao Mu was at a loss. How did I get stuck in this dump? Everyone else is racking up points, and I'm just trying to escape. If this keeps up, he can kiss his chances of hitting the leaderboard goodbye. All eyes were on him during this hunting competition, eager to see the performance of this human hotshot. If he ended up at the bottom after 5 days, he'd be the laughingstock of the demon race. Did someone drop me here on purpose? Zhao Mu wondered, but with all his mentors watching, there shouldn't be any room for cheating by the demon clan. Looks like I just drew the short straw. Zhao Mu shook his head and kept combing every inch of the cave, looking for any hidden cracks or tunnels. An hour later, Zhao Mu had cleared out every monster. He'd scrutinized every surface, scanned it with his mind, but still no exit. He even tried to squeeze through cracks barely big enough for his hand, trying to break through the rock, but nothing worked. This is messed up. Zhao Mu plopped down on the ground, totally stumped. There had to be a way out of this forsaken place. After a while, Zhao Mu decided to try digging a tunnel straight up, hoping to reach the surface, but the moment Zhao Mu raised his sword, the cave started shaking. Then, a light green liquid started seeping through the walls from every direction. A sharp, acrid stench filled the air, like stomach acid. The green liquid slowly rose, eventually reaching over 3 feet high. When the monster corpses on the ground got soaked, they instantly dissolved into nothing. Even immortal monsters get melted by this stuff. That's insane. Zhao Mu held his breath to avoid inhaling the fumes. He shot to the top of the cave and started hammering at the rock with his flying sword, desperately trying to dig an escape route. In a flash, Zhao Mu tunneled down dozens of feet, but the green liquid had already risen even further below. If it kept rising at this rate, the whole cave would be full of the stuff within an hour. Zhao Mu went all out, urging his flying sword to dig faster. But after blasting through hundreds of feet, he still hadn't reached the surface. Instead, he ran into an incredibly solid mineral layer, barely scratching it with his high-grade flying sword. What mineral is that tough? Zhao Mu was surprised and excited. He realized this or had to be something special. If it could withstand his sword in its raw form, it'd make a killer weapon. Before, the elders explained that the secret realm of Warcraft contained many natural treasures just waiting to be discovered. Since he'd found this ore, it was as good as his, but the green liquid was practically overflowing the cave, threatening to engulf him any second. With no other choice, Zhao Mu unleashed the Red Flame Tyrant Sutra, generating intense heat that melted the surrounding rock into magma. He tried to block the passage below, holding back the rising green tide. It wouldn't last forever, but it would buy him some time. That done, Zhao Mu started hacking away at the ore. Luckily, the ore wasn't too big, only about 20 cubic meters. Zhao Mu cut around the edges, quickly separating it and stuffing it into his storage ring. Now wasn't the time to study it. Getting out was the priority. I hear the wind. I must be close to the surface. Zhao Mu rejoiced and started digging faster. The flying sword showered sparks as it smashed through rock. A few minutes later, it burst through and flew out. I'm out. Zhao Mu was ecstatic and flew through the opening. What the heck? Before he could celebrate, Zhao Mu saw he was on a tiny island. Surrounding him was an endless, dark green ocean. The corrosive sea breeze stung his nostrils, and massive green waves crashed around him. As a wave threatened to engulf him, Zhao Mu quickly took flight with his sword. From above, all he could see was a poisonous green ocean stretching to the horizon. How huge is this secret realm? It's got a whole sea of poison. Zhao Mu marveled. Suddenly, he heard a piercing shriek in the distance. He looked and saw a green, bird-like monster chasing several human cultivators. Zhao Mu recognized them. They were inner disciples from Medicine King Valley, all in the Dongjie realm, but the bird monster was stronger, radiating the aura of a peak pill formation stage cultivator. Since fellow disciples were in trouble, Zhao Mu had to help. He flew forward, and snared the monster's wings with purple lightning, crippling its flight, then blasted it with a burning flame palm, dealing massive damage. Finally, he shattered its skull with his flying sword, destroying its crystal. His disciple badge flashed, and he got 100 points. The monster wasn't high level, but the points jumped tenfold. It must have been an earth-level monster. Brother Zhao. Thank you, Brother Zhao. You saved our lives. Brother Zhao is amazing. That monster chased us for miles. We couldn't do anything to it. Brother Zhao shows up and takes it down with a few moves. Brother Zhao is a true hero of our race. That the Medicine King Valley disciples were grateful. What is this place? Zhao Mu asked. One disciple replied, Brother Zhao, this is the Sea of Corrosion, west of the Magic Beast's secret realm. This ocean breaks down and devours magic beasts, then uses their power to create new ones. The new ones are usually weaker, so we came here to hunt low-level magic beasts for points. But we ran into this earth-level monster right away. The Sea of Corrosion sounded pretty messed up. Which way is the mainland? Zhao Mu asked. It's about 200 miles east. We're heading back now. Want to come with us, Brother Zhao? No need. You're too slow. With that, Zhao Mu sped off east on his sword and vanished. Chapter 58 Meeting Neo Yulan again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 200 miles. At my speed, that's less than 10 minutes. The moment the coastline came into view, I breathed a sigh of relief. Something about this Sea of Corrosion really rubbed me the wrong way. It wasn't just the raw toxicity, the whole vibe gave me the creeps. I figured it probably had something to do with my red sun holy body. My yang energy was off the charts, and this sea was a total infest, the opposite of me. Plus, while there were tons of monsters, most were just earth level. Not worth much. This place was more like a noob zone, perfect for the Demon Sect's junior varsity to come and grind. If I wanted to rack up points in the next 5 days, I needed to head inland and hunt earth, or even heaven-level beasts. After landing, I scoped out the terrain. To the left was a thick, creepy jungle, howling noises and all. Straight ahead was a massive canyon with a sandy desert floor. You could see monsters milling around in the open, and to the right, endless bare mountains. Each peak had one or more caves, probably monster dens. I could see some demon cultivators teaming up, heading into one of those dens, planning to clear the place out. Logically, the mountains would have the most monsters, but everyone knew that. The pickings would be slim with everyone horning in. I couldn't single-handedly take on a whole nest, so that was out. In the end, I set my sights on the canyon. It was narrow, but ran straight through. A fight could easily attract monsters from both sides, creating a crossfire situation. A weaker cultivator would get chewed up in there, but that also meant fewer hunters would risk it. Perfect for me. I hopped on my sword and flew straight into the canyon, not bothering to hide my presence, and immediately got the local monsters' attention. They were an aggressive bunch, charging as soon as they saw me. But I played it cool, flying further in. Looking back, I had a whole posse of monsters tailing me, over 300, mostly Xian level, but a couple of Earth level mixed in. Total, that was 500 plus points right there. Time to spring the trap. That I swooped back like a hawk, right into the middle of the monster pack. Purple lightning arced out, paralyzing and binding all 300 plus of them. Helpless, they were just lambs for the slaughter. I guided my flying sword, smashing their heads one by one. The whole thing was over in 5 minutes, and I was 530 plus points richer, and just like that, my nameplate flashed. I cracked the top 100. If I hadn't wasted time in that sea of corrosion, I'd be in the top 10 already. No time to rest. I jumped back on my sword and kept going. Lure, gather, control, smooth as butter. Too bad there wasn't any loot dropping besides points. Equipment and materials would have been a nice bonus. Hours flew by while I was having so much fun. Another wave of monsters down, and I officially hit the top 10. My score was over 16,000. These top 10 guys are freaks. I'm already hunting at warp speed. How did they get that many points? Guess the Demon Sect was full of dark horses. Buzz, star. Just as I was taking a breather, I heard a sharp sword sound in the distance. I shot out of the canyon and looked towards the horizon, catching the tail end of a golden sword streak. That's some serious sword intent. My heart skipped a beat. That aura, it felt familiar, like the sword intent Miaoyin showed me, but even fiercer. That had to be Long Qianxiang. He was close. I immediately went on high alert. He might not dare to make a move in the monster realm, but still, better safe than sorry. Master. Suddenly, I heard a sugary sweet voice from a distance. I knew who it was before I even turned around. My little heifer. Sure enough, there was Yulan. Haven't seen her in a while. What were the odds we'd run into each other here? How did you know I was here? Yulan ran up, out of breath. I saw senior brother Long sword energy, so I came to investigate. But then I bumped into you. It must be fate. You know Long Qianxiang? I asked. I train at Shengyuan Mountain under the Great Elder. I'm an inner disciple. I've met senior brother Long a few times. We're not close, but we're from the same sect. Maybe he could guide me, but now that I've found my master, I don't need senior brother Long anymore. She probably didn't know about my beef with Long Qianxiang. Otherwise, she wouldn't be name-dropping him like that. I didn't mind. I just chuckled. Good. I'm getting bored hunting alone. You can keep me company. Yulan grinned like a goofball. Don't underestimate me, master. I'm at the 5th level of pill formation. A few monsters are nothing. I can help you hunt, and all the points will go to you. Consider it my tribute. Is that even allowed? Sounds like cheating. Yulan shrugged. Everyone does it. You don't get bonus rewards unless you hit the top 100. So the elders gather their direct disciples, hunt monsters, and funnel all the points to their top guys. Keeps their ranking up. They're all gunning for the top 10. You're gonna get slaughtered if you go it alone. Let me see where you're at in the standings. She pulled out her nameplate and checked. Her jaw dropped. Whoa, master, you're a beast. Top 10 already. 16,000 points. I've been killing monsters like crazy, and I've barely scraped together 5,000. She shook her nameplate, and mine vibrated. Her 5,000 points were instantly transferred, bumping me up to 9th place. Chapter 59 Exploring the Cave. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Binding complete, Yulan is your assigned return target. Zhao Mu slipped on a storage ring and pulled out a sky blue elixir, offering it to Yulan. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Call it even. Yulan recognized the elixir's high quality, definitely 6th grade or higher. She quickly waved her hands. Master, no need to be so formal. My brother wronged you. I'm here to make amends for him, not take handouts. This girl might be a bit naive, but she's got a good head on her shoulders. Zhao Mu insisted on placing the elixir in Yulan's hands, taking the opportunity to brush against her small, pale fingers. We're not strangers here. If your brother was here, I'd probably give him more than just an elixir, maybe a knuckle sandwich. But you're you, and he's him. You can't be held responsible for his screw-ups. That's just not fair. Yulan wasn't sure why Zhao Mu kept playing with her hands while he spoke, but his smile and strong voice sent a tingle through her. Her breath quickened, her heart pounded, and her cheeks flushed. She nodded vaguely, obediently accepting the elixir. Master, you're too good to me. She murmured. Ding! You gave Yulan the 6th grade, Shengyuan pill, triggering a 1,000-fold return. You received the 8th grade elixir, Jingqing Xianyang pregnancy pill. Ding! Yulan's favorability plus 10. Yulan's opinion of Zhao Mu jumped from 65 to 75 points. Zhao Mu was surprised, all that for a pill. Or maybe his words struck a chord. Maybe she really didn't want to atone for Ao, but family ties were forcing her to. An idea sparked in Zhao Mu's mind. Hey, just call me junior brother, okay? I only asked you to call me master to blow off steam. Looking back, that wasn't cool of me. Yulan blinked her gorgeous eyes, her expression softening. Zhao Mu checked the system interface. Score. Yulan's favorability climbed another 5 points, reaching 80. Junior brother, you're too kind, but the nicer you are, the more I feel I owe you. How about? Yulan suddenly bit her lip, leaning into Zhao Mu's arms. How about I just repay you, as your senior sister? She whispered. Zhao Mu was floored. Seriously? This is what 80 points of favorability buys. The sweet scent, the full, almost overwhelming contact. Zhao Mu felt like he'd been hit by lightning. Any guy would have a hard time resisting, especially Zhao Mu, the walking, talking horn dog. He's been practicing his moves for days, and he's got way too much pent-up energy. Yulan just lit the fuse, and he couldn't stop himself. Hold up, I already used up my return opportunity for today. Waiting till tomorrow will get me a better return. Screw the cost/benefit ratio. Strike while the iron's hot. I can't wait till tomorrow. After a brief internal struggle, Zhao Mu scooped up Yulan and headed for a small cave nearby. He etched divine patterns in the air, forming a barrier to seal the entrance. 2 hours flew by. When Zhao Mu emerged, Yulan gazed at him with a hint of playful resentment. Junior brother, we've been here too long. You've dropped out of the top 15 in the rankings. That being said, Yulan's favorability toward Zhao Mu had skyrocketed to 90 during those 2 hours in the cave. It's okay. Not many have ventured deep into the canyon yet. And there are tons of monsters up ahead, enough to rack up points. The first day in the secret realm is almost over. With 4 days left, they needed to hurry. You tired, senior sister? Zhao Mu asked, Yulan's cheeks flushed. I'm good. Us demon cows are known for our stamina and recovery. Then let's hunt. Just hang back and watch me. Zhao Mu drew his sword, his expression turning serious and focused. Zhao Mu already knew how to lure monsters and grind them all the way. But the deeper they went into the canyon, the tougher the monsters became. For safety, Zhao Mu only gathered about 100 at a time. Yulan was speechless. This was how Zhao Mu got so many points. Hunting like this was super efficient, but only Zhao Mu could pull it off. Guess you gotta be bold if you've got the skills. Zhao Mu spent the entire day slowly moving inland through the canyon. Though the area seemed barren, no monster was safe. Each one was converted into points. In just one day, Zhao Mu leaped to 5th place on the leaderboard, with a total of 48,000 points. The top 4 were all geniuses of the demon clan. Long Tianxiang was second, with over 100,000 points. Long Tianxiang's rank didn't surprise Zhao Mu. He was 5th on the list of disciples, so he deserved this result, but Zhao Mu was confused by the person in 1st place, a name he'd never heard before, Miaoyin, 270,000 points, way ahead of Long Tianxiang, a total blowout. Who is this Miaoyin? Zhao Mu asked Yulan. She was a demon, so she must know her. Oh, senior sister Kong. Wow, she's actually competing. She's usually not into this stuff. She's never even bothered with the Road to Heaven challenge. You know her? Yulan shook her head. I've heard of her, but I've never met her. Senior sister Kong has got to be the most mysterious disciple in the Shengyuan Demon Sect. Word is, she was next in line for sainthood, but Queen Qingyun thought there should be a non-demon saint, so she stepped aside and Zishuan took the position. Zhao Mu was shocked. Chapter 60 Miaoyin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zishuan was actually the runner-up for the saint position. She only got the spot because Miaoyin was a demon. Zhao Mu already knew how strong Zishuan was, so Miaoyin had to be even stronger, right? What else do you know about her? Zhao Mu asked. Not much. Senior sister Kong isn't around the demon sect much. They say she's the young princess of the immortal King Peacock clan. She might take over the Peacock Immortal Lord's throne soon and rule the 10,000 demons forest. She's on a whole other level from us regular demons. Even top-tier prodigies like Long Tianxiang and Han Rong barely get to see her, which is why it's surprising someone like her would even bother with hunting day. Yeah, if Miaoyin had that kind of background, the hunting day rewards would be peanuts to her. Zhao Mu suddenly felt the pressure. He was confident he could beat Long Tianxiang for the top spot, but Miaoyin? That was a whole different ball game. Alright, just do your best and beat Long Tianxiang. Forget about Miaoyin. Zhao Mu thought, the top 3 get the same rewards anyway, so 2nd place wasn't bad. It would be cool to help Yulan snag 3rd and boot Long Tianxiang out of the top spots. After taking down a few more monster waves, the canyon opened into a huge monster nest. Thousands of them, including a ton of Earth-level monsters, and some strong enough to rival nascent soul cultivators. Too many monsters all clumped together. Impossible to lure them out one group at a time. Zhao Mu's spawning strategy was useless here. He didn't want to waste time, so he decided to go around. Yulan was on the same page. She was worried Zhao Mu would charge headfirst into the horde. They were about to detour when a colorful light flashed past. Zhao Mu glanced over and saw a woman with snow-white skin and a saintly vibe flying by. She was surrounded by a rainbow glow, which made it hard to make out her features, but even that quick peek left Zhao Mu stunned. The woman flew straight toward the monster horde, drawing their attention with her overwhelming aura, but before they could surround her, she struck. Her hands moved like silk, and 7-colored divine light followed her movements. The light looked soft and beautiful, but it packed insane destructive power. Wherever it touched, monsters of all levels vanished without a trace, like they evaporated, leaving only crystals behind. Monsters that were supposedly unkillable were like paper in front of the woman's divine light. The light rippled, and in a flash, thousands of monsters were gone, completely wiped out. The woman landed slowly. She reached out, crushed the monster crystals scattered on the ground. Zhao Mu and Yulan watched, speechless. This woman was crazy powerful. That's Kong Miaoyin, right? That who else in this secret realm could have that kind of power? Yulan collected herself and said, I haven't met Kong Miaoyin, but yeah, it's probably her. As she spoke, the woman in the rainbow glow turned to face them, their eyes met, and Yulan instinctively bowed her head, feeling intimidated. Zhao Mu didn't feel a thing. He just thought she was gorgeous. As good-looking as in Zishuan, maybe even a bit better. Aren't you afraid of me? That the woman asked Zhao Mu with a hint of curiosity. She wasn't holding back now. The power of the King Ming bloodline was enough to put the squeeze on most cultivators. Even Long Tianxiang, who had a drop of ancestral dragon blood, didn't dare look her in the eye, but this human kid was just staring at her, cool as a cucumber, which she found interesting. Zhao Mu smiled and said, Senior Sister Kong is so beautiful. I'm too busy admiring her to be scared. Smooth talker. Heard a human genius popped up in the demon sect and caused a stir. Must be you. Thanks, Senior Sister. Personally, I have nothing against demons. But some people are determined to make my life hard. What can I do? Kong Miaoyin appeared in front of Zhao Mu in an instant, up close. Her beauty was even more striking. He couldn't help but peek at her stats in his system. Kong Miaoyin, favorability, 1. A tiny sliver of favor. Zhao Mu sighed inwardly. Guess his charm didn't work on her, Kong Miaoyin said. The friction between humans and demons is complicated, the result of history, hard to fix overnight. I hope you don't hold it against the whole demon race. Her voice was soft, completely unlike the ruthless woman who had just decimated thousands of monsters. If all demons were as nice as Senior Sister Kong, who would I take it out on? Zhao Mu replied, smiling. He was all smiles, but his words were sharp. He wasn't about to forgive his enemies just because Kong Miaoyin said a few nice things. His stance was simple. Mess with him, and you better be ready for the consequences. Kong Miaoyin's eyes narrowed, as if she could sense the murderous intent he was hiding. She felt a little helpless. She didn't know what exactly went down with Zhao Mu. She had just heard that the Xianfeng girl got taken home by her family. Since Zhao Mu was fine and the other party had surrendered, why couldn't he just let it go? Zhao Mu, after hunting day, I'll stick around the sect for a while and invite some fellow demons to my place. Come join us. Can't hurt to make friends, right? Zhao Mu didn't expect her to offer that. Was she trying to play peacemaker? He wasn't sure what her angle was, and didn't really care. Zhao Mu just gave a non-committal reply, thanks, Senior Sister Kong. I'll definitely try to make it. Alright, see you around. A colorful peacock tail fan suddenly unfurled behind Kong Miaoyin, and with a whoosh, she vanished. Zhao Mu watched her go, rubbed his chin, and smirked.